opportunity is out there for the seeker, and it's all about gaining it, So there you go, man. So thanks for having me, buddy. Thanks for putting me on.
Yeah, well, it's going to be good because, like we've said before, a lot of our clients deal with, these everyday pains, and even for myself, man, I'm a little bit worried about my pains because I can't get to the gym to, sort them out in terms of doing weights and this kind of stuff. So obviously, it's finding new ways to manage pain. So it's and we're all going to have to do it. So it'd be good to get it from an expert, mate. So that's why it's good.
If there's one thing that isn't, if there's one thing that is immune from the coronavirus, if you'd like, is pain.
Yeah.
I think we're all going to continue suffering from some level of pain going forward, physical or mental. So whether we get the coronavirus or we eventually escape it, pain's never going to be shut down or locked down. So it's very important to know much more about it and how to manage it. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah, and people not moving, like this is going to cause so many pains and problems that people, they're not obviously going to be there yet. So, but in 10 days, 2 weeks, 3 months, new pains that people aren't used to are going to be definitely in the body, neck pains, back pains, and hip pains, and so if people aren't going to do anything, this is just going to really, really go next level. So it's trying to stay on top of movement and managing these little things, man. So if we can come up with some strategy, or if you have any things that we can kind of implement into our days that might help with those kind of stuff, that would be awesome.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'd be honored to contribute and helping the community out there. Remain mobile if you want, that's one thing, or remain hopeful and remain mentally strong moving forward. I think that's really, really important. As I say, the physical strength that you help people gain or visit is also extremely important in the background to keep our mental constitution strong as well. So in any way I can, to help people's mindsets or to help people further understand the pain that they feel, then absolutely, man, I'm all for it.
As I've gotten older, I've kind of progressed through my issues and all these kind of things. I've really come down to healthy body, healthy mind.
Yes, absolutely.
Not I mean, they work hand in hand, but I've always found the healthier and the stronger my body, the better my brain. So it's like I went through that transition probably a few years ago where I thought, managing my mental health was going to be the be all and end all. But my physical health, not looking after that, made a massive impact on my actual mental health, and not so much like obviously, if you're mentally healthy, it doesn't mean you're going to be physically healthy as well. So it's trying to find a balance between them all. But I found personally is that healthy body, healthy mind. So if we can keep on top of that healthy body, hopefully those stresses and anxieties and shit like that they're going to be there. They're going to be there. So it's managing it the best way we can. It's not going to be it's not a perfect situation, and it's going to be stressful, and it might get more stressful or it might get more anxious. But if you're doing nothing to negate or minimize or help alleviate that stuff, I mean, like, your body will store this pain, and it's going to come out at some point as something. So whether that's you going nuts in your head, or your pain, or your body getting rashes, or all these kind of things. So
I think another way of saying it as well is that people think that strength is inside the body. So they allow the body to control the mind. But if they train the mind to control the body, they would be limitless in what they can achieve with their body and mind. So it works hand in hand.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
not one or exactly. It's not one or the other. It's the hand in hand. So for the people that are thinking like, oh, I don't want to train. It's not so much like, none of us fucking want to train at home, but we're gonna have to. We have to. So whether you like it or not. So we find enjoyment in it, but also you need to look after your health, especially right now.
Abs-
Especially right now, because even if you
ab-
can't, the healthcare system can't cope with your shit if you don't have these viruses and stuff. So it's
yeah,
everything involved.
absolutely.
It's not just about, if you stay healthy
Mm,
as well, you're going to alleviate stress off the nurses and doctors and all the healthcare systems as well. So you're helping
yeah,
yourself out, but you're also helping a
yeah,
shitload of other fucking people out. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
staying on top of those little
absolutely.
things as well. So it's just doing your
Yeah.
part with your family and your stuff, and also everyone else around you. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you brought up a very good point, Liam, about people's motivations. I mean, they signed up to your gym because that feeling of accountability is important to keep
yeah,
them driving forward. And now that the gym is asked to be shut down, people kind of feel confused, and they go, well, my accountability is not there. So the easy way out is to basically not train or do any physical activity.
yeah, yeah,
Plus, with the pressures that everyone are feeling because of the massive changes in life, they're going to get sucked into going the other way and basically starting from point zero, even getting worse before they met you.
exactly.
So, it's important for them to understand that, okay, it's not the same as going to the code and training in a community, but you can definitely try to spice things up at home and be able to enjoy exercise.
Yeah,
And keeping that in mind as a personal trainer, in my opinion, as well, or a physiotherapist, it's about making the program exciting, new, different, but also easily accessible. And the way you're doing it with Zoom and being live or having it recorded for people to use in their own time, it gives them that versatility. So it
yeah,
drops the excuses down. It's like,
yeah,
okay, if I don't wake up at 6 a.m., fine. But the workouts there, Liam posted it. It's on the private page, for example. I can do it at 10,
yeah,
or I can do it at 12, whenever I get like that 30 minutes, break.
yeah,
But we also want to keep in mind that, life is definitely a bit more challenging. Something I was talking to my team yesterday about is, what is the problem out there? And it's something for you also to understand, is that there is our generation who are young parents and have kids in
yeah,
schools.
yeah,
For me personally, I'm going to give myself an example. It's like our personal lives have completely changed. It's like schools have shut down, or not entirely officially shut down, but basically the advice is to keep your kids at home. Okay, fine. So kids are at home. Therefore, now they're roaming around our environment. They need
yeah,
to be homeschooled. So we got to take on certain responsibilities on
yeah,
top of the ones that we have to keep
for sure.
working, to keep.
Yeah,
So if that's going to add added pressure. So what you need to do is to kind of go, well, no matter how much my responsibilities are, in order to be a leader for my own family, I need to look at this physically and spiritually and go, well, if I need that physical stamina to be able to keep up with all these responsibilities, so I want to give myself the gift, that hour or half hour, to do some physical activity, because I know that when I do it, I change my whole physiology and I'm prepared.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I'm not doing it only for myself. I'm doing it for the people who depend on me. And that's
yeah,
very important to know.
yeah,
It's very, very important to know. If
yeah,
you lose that perspective, and like we said, we were going to talk about goal setting. If we lose that core value, who am I doing this for?
yeah,
Number one, for myself. Number two, for the people that depend on me, and for me to be the great example that I want to be. Then absolutely, man, we
yeah.
got to find ways to be able to keep active.
The way a good analogy, you can't pour out of a cup that's empty. So if you're not looking
Yeah,
after yourself, how are you going to look after everyone else?
therefore, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right. So
Mm,
it's easy for us to all make excuses why we shouldn't be, why we don't do things, or why we don't have time. But I think it's just a case of making the time or doing the best in that situation. So if the kids are being a pain in the asses and stuff like
yeah,
that, we just,
yeah,
I don't know, pick them up and shoulder press them, or do something, play with them.
yeah.
Be
That is
active, just play
absolutely
with them.
true. Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like, so
yeah,
you have to be selfish to be
yeah,
generous.
yeah,
So
absolutely, absolutely.
you must
I
look after
think
yourself.
I think that was a great idea about shoulder pressing them or bench
Yeah,
pressing them.
they'll
Absolutely,
fucking
they'll
love
have
it.
fun with it.
They'll love it. You know
Yeah,
what kids are
absolutely.
like, throw me higher and all that
Yeah,
kind of stuff. So, man, you can do
absolutely.
piggyback rides around the house. So There's plenty you can do.
Absolutely.
You don't have to treat
Absolutely.
exercise as in push-ups, sit-ups, fucking run. Exercise is just
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
active at the moment is
Yeah.
exercise. So
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? It's great. You bring up a very good point, is because you can actually schedule these activities. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So for example, you can schedule some sort of a family daily routine where
yeah,
you can integrate the 20 minutes of, okay, as a family, we're all exercising.
yeah.
And so
See, that'd
being
be
creative
perfect.
and
Perfect. Yeah. See, and
yeah, yeah.
even maybe try and jump it around the kids' recess and lunch times. I don't know if that works for a lot of people, and I don't have kids, but
Mm,
maybe that keeps them in
yeah.
a routine as well. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. I mean, what do they do in school? Let's say, if you think about it, recess time, they're out there running in the yard
yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
Now that's taken away. So what are they going to do in the meantime? Well, you create those
You're gonna have
that
to.
environment.
You'll
Yeah,
have to.
absolutely.
Yeah, because the
Yeah,
kids, the
you got to
kids,
create.
exactly, and
Mm,
that's why school's so. I think school's great because it has that routine in the schedule. That's the good thing
absolutely.
about it. So
Yeah,
it
and
keeps
that's
that brain.
dangerous, you know.
Yeah.
And when your routine is taken away from you, it becomes quite dangerous.
Oh, for
So
sure.
it's important for people to understand that we are creatures that very much abide by routine to be
Routine is
socially
everything.
productive.
Yes, and what
Yeah.
are they saying at the moment? It's like routine and discipline is actually freedom. Gives you more freedom.
Mm,
So
absolutely.
the more you kind of you get, it's just clearer in your head. It's not as anxious. It's just everything. It's freedom from yourself.
Well,
Is a lot of the time.
absolutely, it's freedom from what we were talking about, ruminating and
Yeah.
being and being goal driven.
Mm.
And the other thing is, you can actually schedule freedom in the schedule.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Give
And I
yourself
think
a break.
yeah, exactly. And that's a massive thing I learned as well. It's when you have these times during the day and you want to read your books, or if you want to play games, or if whatever your hobby is, do not feel
Yes,
guilty about doing it, because
absolutely not.
that
Mm,
we all need that time to ourselves. And I've actually spoken to a few clients and a few friends that have said since they've started with all this coronavirus, they're doing more hours at work.
yeah.
So
Wow.
these people
Okay.
end up doing 9-10 hour days at home. So
Wow. Yeah.
now
Yeah.
the free time is kind of disappearing. So it's not feeling
Mm,
guilty when you're
mm.
doing the things you enjoy, and so it's
Yes.
stuff like that. And also
Absolutely.
scheduling enjoyment is going to be a good one too. So, but yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So if you want to maybe help us out with goal setting and maybe a few KPIs for our clients,
Okay.
that'd be awesome. So, um,
Yeah.
like we all have goals, but then there's also some
Mm-hmm.
goals that us as professionals that can provide, or think that are like KPIs.
Yeah.
Each
Okay.
day drink this much water, or do this, meditate, do something. So
Yeah.
if we can
Okay.
create a few KPIs and maybe a few goals, and then
Yeah.
obviously the clients can
Yeah.
kind of do that as well. So
I
if you
think
have
I
anything you
think that's
suggest,
yeah. I think absolutely. I mean, key performance indicators are very good. It keeps us it keeps us anchored towards being able to see the end result and create a roadmap for ourselves. So uh, one of the KPIs really is to sit down and start with a schedule. That is a KPI. I mean,
yeah,
if you don't have a roadmap, then effectively you don't know where you're going.
exactly,
So number one, I mean, this whole thing is fresh for everyone. It's like this fresh wound that's still bleeding profusely. You know what
yes,
I mean?
yeah,
So we need to add some level of compression to stop the bleeding.
yeah,
So how do we do that? Let's sit down, take a piece of paper, create a little calendar. Now, depending on how organized you are, whether you look at things daily or you look at things weekly,
yeah,
create some level of foreshadowing of how you're going to plan your day. And that is a very important key performance indicator,
mm,
because if you don't have that, then you don't know exactly what you're going to be doing.
yeah,
And you mentioned about those small things, about drinking water. Incorporate that into your schedule.
yeah.
You
I
know,
think that's a good one. That's a like little KPIs like that Just make sure
absolutely.
maybe 2 cups of vegetables and three glasses of water, or 3 bottles of water, or you know what I mean. Just like
Absolutely.
little
Yeah.
KPIs and goals that you can easily achieve, but also has a massive impact on your health as well. So,
Right.
you know, like
Yeah, absolutely.
eating your vegetables and drinking water is a simple one, but I guarantee a lot of people are going to forget those 2 things pretty quick.
I think it's, you know, as we get more stressed and our cortisol levels become quite dysregulated, our cravings are going to kind of go the other way. Plus, what may happen is that we might be extremely busy either with work or being anxious and being disorganized. And therefore, you know, we're going to not do as good of a job with meal planning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And therefore we might find the easy way out is to Uber Eats it or Deliveroo it or something like that, because that's still going.
Yeah.
And effectively we're going to fall victim to all that, the convenience. So it is very important to have that as a KPI, meal planning.
Yeah.
So dedicate a day where you can meal prep for the week. You know, when we were into this routine of going to the gym, right? The average meal planning day, according to what I was doing personally and speaking to some of my clients, it was dedicated to be Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sunday was the day where I would take 3-4 hours and I would meal prep the whole thing, so that way I get my macros and micros going forward.
Yeah.
You know, and therefore then I know that when I've done that massive job, I can give myself a pat on the back and go, hey, it's all done now.
Yeah.
I've got no excuses. It's all prepped up and ready to rock and roll.
And that's the great thing
mean?
about it. And if you just stick to the meals that you planned, you're probably going to get a great result. And once you kind of deviate out of that, that's when things can change. But at least you then have a base measurement. Even if the meals that you're having is not completely right, at least you have a base measurement of which direction you're going. But if you don't know what you're planning and all this kind of stuff and not setting the routines, there's nothing to work off to say this is the issue or this is what's actually being good. So routines and planning and all this kind of stuff is great, even if it fails, because we know we have a starting point and we know what you've been doing and we can actually take a close look. Where if you don't stick to these planning days and your routines, we don't know what's going on or why you feel shit or why you feel good, for instance. So
what you said is exactly right. One thing I wanted to add on to that is that if you fall off the train tracks, for example, okay, the blessing is that you've fallen off the train tracks. That means that you know that you have train tracks to hop back on.
Yeah.
If you don't have any routine, then you won't even know that you've actually fallen off the train tracks.
Exactly.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So road mapping is absolutely important in the goal setting and objectivizing where you're going.
Yeah.
That is absolutely important. And I use a lot of that philosophy in rehabilitation.
Yeah.
So, you know, someone comes in with complexity and pain and they've been suffering from pain for years. Well, we have to break that down.
Yep.
And what are the small steps that we can make that are manageable, measurable, and also align with our core values so that we can start transforming ourselves? If I give you a very big task, the chances are you're going to get something bigger than what you can chew.
Yeah.
And effectively, you're going to fall off.
Yeah.
You see? So the planning is very important. And if you want to start from macro planning, just giving yourself a universal idea of what you're going to do, then you have that, and then you can start adding the micro aspects, like, okay, a glass of water in the morning, a glass of water at 10 o'clock, those types of things.
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, exactly. And those little ones end up being a big thing at the end of it all.
Oh man, for sure. It's those little things that are going to build up that consistency, and you're going to see a big change.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's enjoying those points as well. You've got to.
Oh wow, yeah.
You've got to.
The bottom line. Yeah.
You have to enjoy it. So I read a good one just before you go again. What was the analogy? It takes an hour to get to the finish line of a marathon, but a lifetime of experience to get to the start. So you learn a lot getting to the start of that marathon line, but the finish line's only an hour away. So what you're learning now and what you're doing now is just is building up. So you're just building this
Mm.
nice solid foundation. It's just building those things. Instead of looking at the end goal at 6 months time, I'm going to be out of the house. Find the
Yeah.
enjoyment in it all now, because when we're finished in 6 months time, it will be so much easier for you to maintain these tiny little um, habits that you've built into your daily routine.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think it's sometimes the end result and the destination is sometimes
the
okay. It
problem.
might be the goal. It might be the goal, the ultimate goal, but the accomplishments of the mini goals that take you there are actually the ones that are
Exactly.
cherished forever.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I
Because
should
it's
get that
those.
quote and say it a bit better next time. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's what you're doing
Yeah.
between the start and the finish line that actually
Oh
makes you.
man, for sure, for
Yeah,
sure. Like
it's
I personally am preparing. I'll be honest with you. I'm preparing for an event as well. I'm turning into a bit of a runner.
oh god.
Not because of the corona. Yeah, not because of. I'm doing it very much so for the mental side. I really. I'll tell you why running is quite. I know you might have not tried it or you might have
No,
your opinions on it, but
look, I love all exercise and stuff. We always give cardio shit, but the be all and end all,
yeah,
it
yeah,
releases some extremely good endorphins and good hormones, and it does make you feel
yeah,
great. So regardless of
yeah.
what I say, it doesn't matter, man. It
I
just
want to. I want to give something that's very important. This is a lesson I've learned from running, and I think it can be translated in all exercises. Okay, this is really, really important for people to really understand if they really want to keep motivated with exercise. Every time I accomplish my run, so we were talking about mini goals in my training. Every time I accomplish my run, or every time I accomplish a workout, okay, because I do HIT, I do all kinds of types of workouts, as you probably know as well.
yep.
Every time I finish, man, I look back and I go, you know what? The first thing I want to do is give gratitude to my body, because no matter how pretty I looked or no matter how ugly I looked, man, I did it.
Yeah.
And my body was able to go through it from start to finish.
Yeah.
And that is so important, man.
Yeah.
That is absolutely so important, that you give thanks to your limbs, to your spine, to everything. I know it sounds funny, but it's, people out there can barely move. You can see that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen it in my practice, right?
Mm.
But I built them up so nicely in a way where I can tell you, you know what, you took that step, well done. Give your body thanks, because it did it,
exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
and
Yeah.
that is so important. And every time I finish my run, I look back and I go, you know what, I want to give myself a tap in the back.
Yeah.
I want to give my body, my muscles, my bones, my ligaments a tap in the back, because man, I did it, and it got me from point A to point B, and I'm so happy. You
And
know what
then
I'm saying?
sometimes that's a huge goal for most people. It's just to finish a
Oh man,
workout.
for
So
sure. Depend on where you are. Absolutely.
exactly. And for you to not be grateful for you, that is kind of there's plenty of other people that can't do that. So some of these people,
Yeah.
there's plenty of people lacking in mobility or pain or injuries, or who knows the circumstance. So for you to be
Yeah.
able to finish a workout is really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Because every time you give thanks, you start to build trust.
Yeah.
That's very important. Every time you appreciate what you can achieve, you start to trust yourself more and more.
Yeah.
And when you start to trust yourself more and more, you can start to tackle variety of exercises, or you can tackle variety of advice that you're given, like, for example, like we were talking about routine and eating your vegetables. You did your 2 vegetables today, man, that is a step up, and you need to celebrate that. You need to congratulate yourself by doing it.
Yeah.
And the fact that you do that every single time builds that trust that you can do it.
Yeah.
And that becomes immeasurable.
Yeah.
And you can start to challenge and progress yourself from there.
Yeah, exactly. And before, look, time's going to pass anyway. So you might as well, put the effort in, but also be kind to yourself as well. So enjoy it.
The whole way through, you have to.
Yeah.
So even when when people make mistakes, I know I deal with a lot of clients who come in with situations of emotional eating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before we go into triggers, before we go into, the environment, what you were thinking, all that type of cognitive behavioral stuff that we do, it's important to go, you know what, first and foremost, so show yourself self-compassion and go, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah. Exactly.
We all
self-love
make,
is a massive thing. Yeah.
For sure, man. That absolutely. We've had a lot of deep chats together off camera.
Yeah.
And it's very important to indicate that that is something that we both, I know you, and especially me, appreciate. So
yeah. And you can see it in people when people have the confidence, and it's not being arrogant, it's just being confident in yourself. And it's the energy you bring, especially in these times as well. If you're improving that, you're going to really help your household as well, because you know what.
Oh man,
And negative
absolutely.
energy is extremely easy to produce and to replicate.
Yeah.
So the positive one
Yeah.
is harder, but it's positive and it's better for you long term and stuff. So
I think energy is, as we say, it never is static. It's always moving.
Yeah.
And the thing is, but with energy, if you want to go into a little bit of that, it's just more, you know, it needs a host, right? Energy needs a host. And the thing is, if you are going to be a host that attracts negative energy, then you're going to attract that energy. If you are a host that wants to change or commits to change and you know, wants to acquire positive energy, then you know, you got to find ways of bringing that energy to you. You see what I mean? So it's very internally driven. To create the external circumstances.
Yeah, for sure.
So very important. It's a good point.
Yeah. All right. So what do you reckon? We've got some KPIs, a few.
So we got KPIs on routine. Set the routine first. That's very important. The second thing we discussed was once you set the routine, depending on how far you're going to set the routine, is choose a day in your routine, right? You choose the day where you know you're going to dedicate all your efforts for the nutrition side of your health, which would be the macro and micro planning, the meal planning. Right? So
guys, we'll help you with that as well. So once people start watching the video, we're here to help you create that. And also, if you come across that you might run out of meat, we'll give you different information about vegetables and all this kind of stuff to help hit these protein targets. So
absolutely.
I think exactly what Corey's saying. Stick to the dedicated days and these routines, but you're going to have to be a little bit open-minded, and because things are going to change with the food sources and stuff you have as well. So, but keep to these routines.
Yeah. And the other thing, I think, I don't know if you want to call this a KPI, but it's more of a mindset thing. Make it a collective thing. So for example, if you're going to meal plan, you know, you don't want to just meal plan for yourself. Because now everyone's a meal plan for everyone, so that everyone gets involved in your journey. You see what I mean? And by you changing yourself, you're going to be able to indirectly change others. The loved ones that live with you under the same roof. For sure. And that can expand, to your neighbors, to your parents, folks, grandparents, and beyond, to your community. So, you know, making it collective is very important.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to educate clients as well on, you know, portion sizes. So it's something, you know, the hand and thumb and all these kind of little things. So we obviously want to manage calorie intake a little bit, but it doesn't mean that there's no health foods. There's no weight loss foods. It's what it's made up of. So if you're eating calorie dense food, it's how much are we going to eat off that for each person's body size or each person's age group and stuff like this. So what I'm trying to say is that all of us in your family, unless there's an actual dietary thing for someone, you don't have to eat 4 different meals just because it's male, female, kids, or adults. It's portion sizes. So if you're if you're an adult male, you're going to be obviously eating maybe a steak this week. So we're going to educate you on ways to cook for your whole family, but also to get the portion sizes right for each individual person as well. I mean, it's not going to be perfect because it's not going to be scales and stuff, but at least if you have some references, and just to manage your caloric intake so we don't go put on weight and stuff like this as well. So like
managing caloric intake, as you say, but it's also about the expenditure as well. So for example, for an adult male, if the adult male in particular isn't expending or spending a lot of calories, then the intake needs to be varied depending on their physical activity.
And it's a how do we know, or what are these little things that we can do to help know that we're kind of
Well,
doing our ratac, and that's routine. So if you're
that
eating,
brings that yeah, that brings us to another KPI. You know, my personal opinion for exercise, you know, it's I don't know about the 30-minute 3 times a week kind of thing. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy into that, but I also like to think about quality. Like, for example, you know, if you look at say stress adaptation, okay, how can we create a resilient physiology when we're basically under a lot of challenge? So you correct me if I'm wrong with your physical exercise knowledge as well, but you can do 5-minute bouts of intense exercise. You can spread that out during the day. You know what I mean? Like, I personally go, okay, I've done an hour and a half to 2 hours consultation. I got a bit of time between clients, right? I can go and do a 5-minute, you know, high intensity AMRAP, boom, 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 get my heart rate up, and then allow that recovery time again through
it's
my next
definitely
bout of
the
client
quality.
consultation.
Definitely, if like all the factors, if you have the body that will give you the ability to do a 5-minute hit workout, then yeah, for sure, it's definitely going to be quality. But if you don't have the body to do that, do the best you can with those kind of things. But
Yes,
yeah, for sure,
absolutely.
your effort is definitely directly related to your results in every which way. So it could be the shittest program ever, to be honest, but if you put 100% effort into it, you're going to get a lot better results than if someone has the best program ever and puts 10 fucking percent effort in. So so you do the best that your body will give you, but it's the quality. You don't have to do hour workouts. You don't have to go to the gym 6 days a week. Like, there's plenty of people that go to the gym 14 sessions a week, but they might be the shittest effort in the gym. Like, how can you go to the gym 14 times if you're actually putting effort in? It's not it's not going to happen, man. So if you're putting the effort in, you know what I mean? So that just shows me that you're just not training hard enough. So if you just put the effort in to your ability, don't worry about anyone else, then for sure. I think it's definitely quality over quantity, for sure.
Okay. So if you want to consider like a KPI or a baseline for an average individual, 3 times a week of 30 is better than nothing. You know? So I think we can start from that baseline, but we can give people all kinds of recommendations. You know, you can do 10 times 5 minutes a day. So have 10 sets of 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? It all depends on lifestyle, but I mean, from a general consensus, the way people come to see you at your establishment in the mornings, in lunchtime, or depending on the times, they're getting their exercise hit then and there. You know what I mean? So if we're talking to your clients, we want to make sure that they stick to that routine as best as they can. So if you had John Smith, for example, coming and seeing you at least once a week for 45 minutes, then John, please continue having that 45-minute workout a week. You see what I mean? Do not let go of that.
No.
Yeah.
It's the same what we said with the recess and the lunches for the kids. It's the same for you. I would try and stick to that kind of routine when you've been exercising as well. So I know things are different, but if you're training at 9:30 in the morning most times when all the shit wasn't going on, maybe try and stick to that still, just because your body knows what's happening. So
your body knows, absolutely, and it's programmed to perform at that time, absolutely, and that's very important, because if you do it at another time and you may not have the energy reserve levels and stuff like that, and your physiology isn't due to actually perform, you're going to attract an injury. And that's a very, very important point. So don't get me started on that. But yes, if you have a routine and you know what time your body performs well, stick to that time. That is absolutely important. Psychologically and physically.
There's no need to really try and change your routines or anything right now. Just, try and stick to the ones you already have and then just build off it rather than flipping.
If you can.
If you can. If you can. So if you got the opportunity to stick things, especially everyone that has kids and young families. So you just do the best you can with what you can. But don't be afraid to like we said, get people involved, or maybe expand your mind on what exercise is sometimes as well. So you don't always have to, it doesn't always have to be this set push-up
No,
squats, this,
no,
or it doesn't have to
absolutely.
be,
Oh, that's
it
a
doesn't
very
always have
good
to be
point.
yoga. I would play with the kids, or like,
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe clean the house, but make it, well, it's not going to be fun, but at least maybe you try
yeah.
and make it an exercise or something, so
I think it's very important to think about when you come to mindset about exercise, because I get a lot of, I'll give you an example. We get a lot of clients here that are actually technically sedentary, and I'll tell you why. So I know everyone knows what sedentary means, not much physical activity. And I go to them, okay, what's your exercise lifestyle like? Oh, well, I walk to work every day. And so, okay, how long is that? Oh, I 10 minutes to work and 10 minutes back to the bus stop.
yeah,
I'm like, all right, that's exercise, but what do you think about when you're actually doing that? Oh, I scroll on my emails, or
yeah,
I listen to a podcast, or I do this. And I'm like, okay, great. I go, well, where's the intention? Are
yeah,
you giving yourself the intentional aspect of going, you know what, that 20 minutes that I have is going to be my exercise?
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So I'm going to clear my mind. I'm going to focus on what I'm going to do, and I'm going to give it my best shot. You see what I mean? So that
exactly,
10
yeah,
minutes can be brisk
yeah,
rather than, browsing on social media while you're
yeah.
walking. That is, I don't count that as exercise. You
No,
know what I'm
because
saying?
mate,
Because,
it's, yeah,
mm,
that's definitely, you've got what, you've got another 23 hours and 40 minutes of the day. Like
yeah,
for you to
yeah,
do 10 minutes there, 10 minutes back, it's to be honest, it's not really exercise at all. That's life. That's what you should be doing. I
exactly.
think,
That is incidental. It's
yeah,
not intentional.
no,
And that's one thing that is very important, is that we're talking about intentional
yes,
exercise, because if we can psychologically gear up for some
yeah,
time for ourselves, because think about exercise time. It's a blessing, no?
yeah,
It's
for
like,
sure.
I got this time for myself. So I am basically intending and honoring this time to do my best I can, my best effort. As
Yeah,
you say before, people go to the gym, but it's just like there's no effort, there's no
no,
love, there's no time, that intention of,
yeah,
hey, this is my time. They maybe go and chat with people. They're on their phones at the gym, doing a half-assed repetition,
yeah,
half-assed set, and I'm like, man, you're not really respecting the time that you're actually giving yourself. And
exactly,
that's
exactly.
just,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and you're going
It's
to appreciate that time more than ever right now. So
mm,
if you have 20 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes, or an hour, I would put the intention into that time, because who knows
mm,
what's going to happen for the rest of the day. So if you have that,
right,
so
yeah,
just do the best you can at that time. Yeah, don't
yeah,
half-ass it, and like just put
yeah,
the effort in. Everyone's different. Everyone's different. So just
yeah,
work as hard as you can.
yeah,
Um, but
yeah.
yeah, for sure, I think people
There,
need to you need to drop the
mhm,
phone and stuff and all that kind of shit. You can't put
yes,
intention into, yeah, you need to just block it out, put the phone somewhere else,
yeah,
and just
yeah,
put the effort in
yeah.
for wherever time limit it is, and then you've still got the whole day to sit inside and look at your phone. So
Yeah, absolutely.
you know what I
So
mean?
intention and intentional exercise is
Yeah,
the KPI.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You have to plan it accordingly to your lifestyle or your time management, but also stick to the routine that you had before all this happened.
yeah,
Basically, that's a very important message.
yeah.
The other thing that's important in exercise, which I consider another KPI, Liam, is recovery time.
Yes, yeah, for
Um,
sure.
you know what I mean? A lot of people misinterpret how effective recovery is,
Yeah,
um, because it's in the recovery zone that you're making your gains. You see what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Well,
So
exactly. That's exactly right. You have to recover, and especially as you get older too.
yeah,
That's usually the difference that I see is between, the physiological stuff is between the old and the young. It's not so much what you can do in the gym,
yeah,
it's how often can you do it. That's the
yeah,
problem. So
yeah,
where
absolutely.
we're 20 odd, you only need 90 seconds rest between these things, right? And you might train 6 days a week, but then as you get older, it's 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or it might be every second day. But
Yeah,
while you're training, you can still perform just as well as young or old. It's just, yeah, you have to recover. And if
yeah,
you're mentally exerting yourself a lot over the next few months and hopefully exercising quite a bit, you must schedule some time to either this is when I'm going to sleep, or this is when I'm going to have some my own time to myself.
Absolutely,
so,
man. Absolutely. Absolutely. And what you do with your recovery time is very, very important. Like, for
exactly.
example, recovery doesn't mean, like for me anyway, recovery doesn't mean I'm just going to sit there and watch some Netflix or something like that. I'm thinking about maybe even the concept of active recovery.
Yeah, I like the active recovery.
Yeah,
I think it's a great idea.
So for example, if you've had a hard training the one day, what are you going to do to try to deal with the delayed onset muscle soreness and the lactic acid buildup and the collection that you've created? Well, think about maybe going for a light walk. I mean, it's not about you trying to get your heart rate up. It's more about moving your limbs.
Motion
so
is
that's
lotion.
Considered recovery. Yeah, absolutely, man. And definitely, it's a good saying. And the other thing is mobility work. So, are you doing enough mobility work to try to keep your joints moving? Because the gains that you're going to get with mobility work in your training is going to be paramount. It's going to be determining how much gains you make. For example, the mechanics of a squat, you might start with a poor technique, or you might start with reduced depth, but what are you doing to try to over time improve that? You know what I'm saying? So it's very, very important to consider that, because the deeper you can squat, as you probably know, the larger fibers and larger surface area of communication and contact you'll get from the nervous system acting on the muscles, and better gains.
Half reps, half results. So so
there you go. You're on a roll, man, with those sayings.
I know they're all coming out now, mate. But yeah, it's honestly, that's the biggest thing though. There's no point doing 1,000 shitty reps, because you're probably going to get better from 10 extremely good ones. So it's definitely a quality over quantity. It's muscle recruitment. We all kind of know what we should be doing. So I think take your time. Just take your time with it all. Like, you don't have to keep up. If I'm doing the exercises and people are following, you don't have to keep up with me just for the sake of keeping up. I would do half the reps and make sure you're doing that. And take your time.
There you go.
You move to the best of your ability, and I would say not worry too much about everyone else. Find motivation in other people and guidance, but don't compare yourself. I
think it's a personal journey for everyone, man.
And the more you can you need to shift your mindset to being selfish in those kind of things, and it's just the way it is. To get results, you just have to be in a few things. So if I was looking after my family, and if I had kids and stuff, I would do my best to look after my health, just because I knew what it was like growing up sometimes with parents that just aren't as active sometimes. So it's going to be good for everyone involved, to be honest. It really is.
Absolutely. So, be the best example you want your children to be.
And that's
as well.
it. And we're going to do the same thing. So I'll be jumping on the workouts most days, probably twice a day. So I'll be doing my thing, but that's my business as well. So it's a bit unique, but I have to do it just as much as everyone else. I don't have some fucking golden pass that's going to get me through because I've done it for this long. It's just not the way it is. You use it or you lose it. So it's like, just keep at it. So yeah, man. That was a really good chat. I enjoyed that. So we got a few things.
Good, man.
We got a few things here. So routines, and just dedicate times to cook. Have intention when you exercise. Be selfish so you can be generous. So just look after yourself, and the best way to do that's through routine and everything like that. So
so set the schedule up so you got train tracks that if you do fall off, which is normal and accepted, with utmost self-compassion, you know where you have to jump back on. So because if you don't create a roadmap, you're lost already and before the first step. So that's the first step. So that definitely, if you don't do that, I don't think whatever we spoke about is actually going to make sense.
No, exactly.
That's an essential message. But I think those four are definitely important. Recovery also means time for self. We're not only talking about mobility, so I just wanted to add that time for self. What are you doing for yourself from a mindfulness point of view, or if you have a book that you'd like to feed the soul, you know, those types of things, looking after yourself on a mental side as well is important, because as we mentioned before, a strong body is a strong mind, but it's also a strong mind is also a strong body.
Yeah.
So it's important to look after both components.
Yeah.
And therefore recovery also means what are you doing on the mental side of things as well as the physical side. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think that's, in a nutshell, those are the 4 things that I would definitely pay attention to.
Yeah.
Especially now when there's so much disorganization, is how can we help you guys? How can you help your clients remain organized and remain centered and goal-driven? Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll put up a document or a post in the group as well, so everyone can see it and refer back to it. And we'll also we'll post this in the chat, so you can pause and go between this as the weeks go through as well. So it'll be good.
Absolutely, man.
All right.
Well, mate, it was a great chat. Really, really productive. You got me excited with a few ideas there.
Yeah.
I mean, while I was talking, I also, as a human being, first and foremost, thought, you know what, I'm going to actually go and do my own.
I know you're kind of talking to yourself as well at the same time. It's
absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong. I am definitely not perfect in any of those areas, and a lot of the times I am talking to myself. So we're all in the same boat, and
mate, you got to bring your truth in all this, you know.
Yeah, man. Fucking no one's perfect. Yeah, like I died this morning in that workout, mate.
Did you?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
It's just So the adaptation's going to be quite fast for me because my body's used to it, but. Mate, I suffered this morning, to be honest. I really did. So.
Well, it's a totally thing. We got to demonstrate now. It's not like you can walk around and tell your client to do it, you know.
All show and no go, mate. That's me. Yeah.
So, well, there you go, man.
So we're all in the same boat.
To see what your physique will look like after about.
I know it'll be good. It'll be good for everyone. It's going to be interesting to see who's put the effort in 6 months. You know, when everyone comes out of the house and see what we all are. Who's put.
Absolutely.
Who's really made the excuses or not made the excuses? So
good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I can't wait to see this talk on your private page, and I'll definitely. I think we've definitely covered some good essential nuggets, and if you give me permission, I'll take this chat as well and share it on my page, because people deserve to know that, you know, someone like you out there is available to support people mentally, physically, nutritionally. And it's been through, you know, it has been through the ringer as well themselves, and it's come up on top. So I think people need that leadership, man. So appreciate you giving me the platform.
Not a problem, man. It's always great speaking to you.
Listen to me.
Yeah, it's
good stuff, man.
Good, awesome, man. So if we have it, we'll definitely do this again over the next few days, weeks, months, and we'll communicate as much as we can. And
let's keep in touch. Let's spread the wisdom. If people are out there wanting to hear it, man, it'll be an honor for me to continue and spreading that love.
Yeah,
definitely.
for sure. There's no. We'll help as many people as we can. So let's do it, man.
Absolutely, man.
Awesome.
You have yourself a great day, buddy.
You too.
And,
awesome.
And I'll chat to you very soon. Okay.
Great.